I've been granted a 2-year research fellowship at the University of Arts Berlin, where I would be researching, doing my work for the next 2 years, and also teaching there. And I did that without having a BSc, a master's, or a PhD. First of all, I'm Okhiogbe Omonhinmin. My middle name is Omonblanks. Yeah, it's hard to describe me, you know. It's hard because I'll say I'm an ambassador of entanglement. And that means, like Bruce Lee, have you ever heard the statement by Bruce Lee, be like water? It means take the shape that is needed. So I allow my intuitions and my intent guide me. So if there's a project in front of me, instead of coming from this very high mountain, high horse mentality, I ask myself, how can I be of service to this idea? And if it literally means me holding the mic so that a project can actually move smoothly, that's my position for that project, right? And not being the creative director. But if it means putting the team together and being the creative director, yeah, I can do that. But if it actually means me being the producer and being on the sideline and just allowing everybody move accordingly and finding the right people, yeah, so it's really about the idea. It's really about creating interaction. So people, society is my focus. So I'm an observer, so I don't really have one position. I'm first of all just someone who wants to create. But over time, and tapping back into who I am, where I'm coming from, and that exceeds the colonial invasion or whatever type of transatlantic slavery that people like to press on we black people or Africans. I'm talking about before 500 years ago, you know. Who are we? Where are we coming from as a people? Yeah, we've been migrating, we've been expanding. What is Nigeria today? I can trace it back to the Kingdom of Benin, and you can keep tracing it to something else before what you know. But one thing that has stayed with us is our forms of identification, our forms of preservation, storytelling, oral storytelling, visual storytelling. And someone from Edo State is embedded in who we are, you know. They tell you stories that were told to them, and you're going to tell these stories to the people after you. So yeah, I tapped into that, and I was like, you know what, when I was 10, 11, 15, 20 something, if I had platforms that could explain to me the confusions, the questions I had, so I decided to start a platform that documents and archives conversation of who we are, you know, and that's focused on anybody, black or African. So it could be people from Nigeria, Ghana, Germany, Japan, you know, America. There's something constantly linking us. You know, we have a collective experience, whether you know of it or not, but a black person's experience somewhere has a ripple effect, indirectly or directly affecting yours. So TAC is an archiving platform. Right now it's digital, but the goal is to have physical centers around the continent and outside the continent where you can actually go in and have access to thousands of conversations of people who look like you, feel like you, experience like you. You can see the difference, you can see the similarities. You know, it's like a digital library. Yeah, that's the goal. The idea has been like 8 years plus, like, how do I do this, you know? Because when you want to start a platform, you have to think about the workability of it. You have to think about the financial. You have to think about the consistency. You have to think about so many things. And the journey that I found myself was a journey of removing myself from capitalism, right? Just gradually removing myself from this idea that everything must bring money, you know? And starting a platform like this, and though I didn't see examples of the platform I wanted, but there are examples of media companies out there. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. So it took time. So eventually I started it in 2017. I think when I'm dead, it's still going to be going. Yeah, because we are how many billion people in the world, you know? And it's the Black and African experience is so expansive, it's so beautiful, it's so complex, it's painful, it's fun, it's vibrant, it's dull, it's gray, it's pink, it's red, it's white, it's so much, right? And no one platform, no one person can commodify or capture that. One of the reasons I started my platform started from this statement: oh, you're not Nigerian enough, or that's not Nigerian. Who sits down to go through contemplation and says this is what it means to be Nigerian, to be Black, to be African, to be a man, to be a woman, to be a child, you know? Naturally, stories come to me. Sometimes we do call-outs. Let's say we go to a new country, we just do call-outs, like we want to talk about this. Who would like to talk about this? You know, who would like to talk about loss? You know, who would like to talk about relationships? Who would like to talk about mental health? Who would like to talk about finance, you know? Or it could be as simple as just documenting someone for 1 minute, 50 seconds, you know, doing nothing, doing something, staring or not, you know. Our reality is important, you know. As an African, as a Black person, white supremacy, whether you see it or not, has really, really suppressed who we are, has taken a lot from where we are coming from, you know, has done and constantly would still continue to try to derail where we are going to, you know. So it's important, and that also shows itself in patriarchy within our society, you know, society designed to just truly uplift just men, you know. And yeah, it's something we have to do to combat that, you know, be different, see things differently. I go by several tenets, you know, that I believe in. Either I've borrowed or I've thought of myself. There is one. I am constantly, remember I said I am like water, right? So I'm constantly willing to go within the box, and I am constantly willing to go outside the box. So it's never about the politics of what it is. It's always about what is right, what is perceivable. By that I mean, what does this send out, you know? How does this affect? You can be the best person in the world, and your your existence within space can oppress others. If you are not aware of that, you are an oppressor, but an unconscious one, right? So my goal is to constantly be conscious of who I am. I affect space, the type of space I create. I want things to be progressive, and progressive in a collective and individual way, which is a contradiction. I'm a contradiction of myself, so I embrace that. I didn't drop out of school. I don't see it like that. Like, I got to that point and I knew it was no longer serving me, right? Formal education, it's very Western driven, no matter how it's presented to you. It doesn't make you an informed Nigerian, or an informed Edo person, or an informed Yoruba person, or an informed Igbo person, Shekiri person, Hausa Fulani person. It makes you an informed person to make capitalism and make governance and make private entities progress. But you as an individual, you have to go out of your way to make sure that you are informed. If you leave it to education the way it is today, you would be very, very much misinformed. So I do not have a problem with education because I love knowledge. I'm a knowledge seeker. I'm an educator, right, myself. But I have issues with the construct of it. You know, it is designed like the military, you know, rudiment. You know, it doesn't give you flexibility. And in life, you need flexibility, mentally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, right? Even if you are religious, I am not religious, but if you're religious per se, they give you prayers. But if certain prayers are not working for you, they'll give you other prayers, right? The Bible is so big so that you can find different things that works for you. The Quran the same, the Bhagavad Gita is the same. There are so many spiritual books out there, but they don't give you just one thing. They give you multiple things. They give you layers, right? Life gives you layers. Education doesn't build you to question things, but knowledge does. Knowledge is constantly evolving, right? It's information. So you question, you search, you research, you find. That cycle continues. Education tells you 1 + 1 = 2. You don't get to ask why, you know, and that's it. So, but going back to your question, I was in school, but while in school, I knew my career path. I knew I wanted to creatively affect society. So I was doing that, music, film, stage, whatever I could find, you know, to learn. And at some point, I just realized, okay, it's done with this, because I knew I was never going to use the certificate. They have to take time and look within and ask, who am I? What do I need? You know, what am I doing this for? Because you can go be a mechanic and excel within that, right? You can go own a salon and excel within that. There are so many things that we can do outside of owning a certificate. So it's really, really, you need to ask yourself, who am I? What do I need? And I feel like the easiest way to identify what one can be would be to ask yourself, what will I do? What will I do daily without being paid? I am a practitioner and I have a 15 years practice being a creative producer, being a creative director, being an artist, being all of these forms that I have been working within, creating, interacting, intervening, creating experiential events. So it's a case. I made a case. I made a case that practitioners should be allowed to enter academia, because going back to education, the structure, the foundation of modern day education were created on the backs of practitioners, people who were happy to create and share their knowledge. And that knowledge eventually formed what we have as education today: philosophers, physicians, scientists, thinkers, So, but today, the academia or academia as it is today, a lot of practitioners within academia, so lecturers, professors, who do not have practices outside of the classroom, are pretty much scared of practitioners, because what they do is they go to the field, do research on our work, and they take that into the classroom, but they do not have the lived experience. So what happens when practitioners like myself go within academia and bring our lived experience, current, past lived experience? What happens is that we show students that it is good to question. Things might not work out like this, but if you find yourself in this position, you can go here, you can go here, you can go there, because I've done it. Oh no, I didn't do it, but I know someone who did, and this creates hybrids, and this is what education needs. As much as you hear me say all of these things, I don't think any one person can just change the system, because there are layers, But one of the things that would cause a ripple effect, a very strong ripple effect, is to teach our history truly as it is, not the doctored one, like truly as it is. What does it mean to be a Yoruba person? How far do the Yorubas date back? How far do the Benins date back? How far do the Hausas date back? How far do we come as individuals? How many kingdoms were in this landmass that we call Nigeria today? How great were they? What did they create? References, language, not just written language in visual arts, language, oral storytelling, like these stories that we know about, where do they come from? So when you go into and you start researching traditional references and who we are, you realize that we have so much that has been suppressed.